Sound check one, sound check two. All right, mics are on, and whenever.
All right, good morning to you. Good morning to you, everybody. Thank you for joining us out here at M1 Concourse. I'm Jared Deanna. Joining me is Austin Cabot. Austin, a beautiful morning and the making of just such a unique event. Last year, 2017, a great success, but bracket battles are back. There's $35,000 up for grabs, and we are live around the world.
Yeah, hi, Mom. Yeah, it's the conditions today are awesome. We don't have the almost artificial looking clouds in the sky yesterday, but I think the conditions are almost ideal. The track temperatures right now this morning are still a little bit cold, but later on today, I think we're going to see the most ideal conditions you can get as a driver, just for tire grip and horsepower.
Yep, the air seems dense, it seems thick. Yesterday, a few vehicles, Smedegaard notably, he's out and unlimited, but we have quite a few competitors, including Tom McGorman, who's doing a couple different driving this year, a couple different positions for him, but
And Tom is such a driver. Like he's so crazy about driving. Get this, yesterday, after he was done here, he hopped in his car, drove to Mid-Ohio.
Really?
Yep. To run one of the endurance races down there for a couple hours with some buddies, drove back overnight, and is here again today.
Wow. So that is a man of, again, a lot of flavor, driving a bunch of different vehicles, like you said, IMSA, Pirelli World Challenge, here, and then to Mid-Ohio. That's awesome. Well, let's talk about the classes, what we're going to be seeing, a little bit of a lay of the land of what's going down as far as the format, because time attack, you're traditionally battling the clock. Now, with the introduction of bracket battle, you're battling your competitors, you're also battling the clock.
Yeah, it's one of those things that for bracket battles, you're battling each other one-on-one, but you're also kind of having to battle yourself because it can be a little bit of a mental game, right? So there's only 2 cars on track at once. You might be wondering how we set the brackets. If you were tuning into the live stream yesterday, you saw a bunch of cars running at once, more than 2 cars on track, which is what we have right now. So really the main thing for the bracket battles is that it might not be the complete fastest car that wins overall. In a traditional time attack, fastest lap of the weekend for your given class, you take it home. You could run it in the first session of the day, last session of the weekend, no big deal. You're going to go home victorious.
Yep.
But for this, you only have, one lap. That, if you screw it up, that's about it.
Yeah.
So
2 cars on track at the same time. 1 car leads, 1 car chases. Sounds like I'm talking about drifting. They'll then alternate, and basically it's the faster. And if driver A or driver B, they get the faster time, they get that win for that lap, and then they'll switch it up. And then again, if the other driver wins, they'll go to it one more time. Like I said, this kind of sounds like drifting in my mind and what I've been announcing for so long. But it makes for just an interesting format. And we're not looking for sandbagging. We're looking for close proximity. Again, all this verbiage sounds oddly familiar.
Yeah, it's an interesting format, right? So in time attack, traditionally, like what I was just talking about, it's the fastest lap of the weekend is about all you're going to get. But in this, you have to make sure the car is going to be reliable, right? So you can't just run a single flyer and then be able to come in. You have to be able to run a flyer, run fast, and then, swap spots with your competitor and be able to run again. So if you screw up that first lap, there's a chance that if you don't, really get on it that second lap, the second hot lap, you're not going to be the winner moving on to the next round. So
let's talk about this track. It's fairly short. So as you said, maybe Road Atlanta, maybe some of these other cars are a little more forgiving. But here, with it being so short, and you only have those, let's call it as 2 laps, you got your 1 lap, alternate, go at it again. Really a small window for errors and for mistakes. Only 2 tires off, 4 tires off, you're DQ'd.
4 tires off, you're DQ'd for that particular battle, right? So it's not for the whole bracket. If you go 4 off for that lap, that hot lap, you don't win that hot lap. So it's not that if you go off, it's all over. But technically, if you lost the first battle and you go 4 off in the second battle, you don't move on.
Okay.
But there is a chance for redemption if you go 4 off in the first battle.
Right.
So
and we'll walk you through. If you're tuning in, let everybody know. Or if you're here in the building, let everybody know. Tune in live. We are live, thespeedring.com/live. But getting a few different angles, a few different perspectives as we are going to quickly get to our first bracket. And street modified here. All right, so we are already into the bracket battles here.
Yeah.
Austin.
So what you're seeing on track right now, some of you may have seen a black flag come out. That is because Jared Pink in that Lexus ISF went 4 off.
Yeah.
We caught him. You saw him knock all those cones pretty much right before turn 1, and that essentially DQ'd him for that run. So we actually have to reset the course, go set those cones back up, but we can't do that until we pull the cars off track. Right here behind us, there's Ben Morowski in his Mini Cooper, and his battle competitor is Jared Pink in that Lexus ISF. Now, Jared Pink in this Lexus ISF, you can see our time attack director, Abe Smucker, on the screen right behind us, letting them know what was going on. Jared drove that Lexus ISF up from Atlanta.
Yeah.
Is racing on the same tires and brakes that he drove it up here on.
Wow.
And I was talking to him earlier, that car has over 200,000 miles on it.
What?
Over 200,000 miles on it. Like, in a street modified type class, that is just the spirit of the class. He drove it here, almost probably 1,000 miles, I'd say. Just straight shot, though, right up I-75.
Yeah.
But, that car, he has a 75-mile commute every day, one way.
Wow.
And so, obviously, you can rack those miles up. But still, it's probably one of the highest mile competitive cars, that there is.
Yeah, that thing's a workhorse. So, and then, like you said, that's just a testimonial to that class. Just above stock, a few little mods here, bolt-ons, kind of your traditional entry-level form of racing, but could come here and win $5,000 if you win this whole thing. 200,000 miles, it's a lot of miles, a lot of abuse. But he went off course. Fortunately, it was just actually on the track in and out, or the track in, I should say. There's some cones there, overcooked it, had some understeer, took out some cones, and that was essentially 4 wheels off, so he gets black flag. So he's at a deficit there. So explaining that, he gets DQ'd for that battle. Now they're going to alternate, and he'll be up front.
Yep. So unfortunately, when you DQ that one, it looks like they're pulling them back in because let's see if Ben Murawski, actually, I think they're going to reset them. Sorry, I don't have quite a clear line of vision to them. But since that was a 4-off, they can swap, and whoever wins the next one, would end up being victorious. So.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So want to thank our sponsors. Thank you, guys and gals, for joining us out here. Again, it's a bright and early morning here, so some people on the West Coast potentially just waking up or still keeping on partying. But local time here, 9:45, so you do the math, 6:45 there on the West Coast. But again, tell all your friends, thespeedring.com/live, as well as on YouTube, on Facebook, on a few different channels. So let everybody know, but kind of directing everybody towards thespeedring.com/live.
You can see on the screen right now, those are the cones that Jared Pink hit, and we're out there resetting them. So we had to put those cones there because that's where the track limits are. So technically, if that pit out lane wasn't there, it'd be grass. So once you hit those cones, that's 2 off for the grass.
Yep.
If you go 4 off all the way across them, technically it's like going all the way in the grass. And when we talk about 2 and 4 off, that's 2 wheels off and 4 wheels off.
Yeah.
Just for some clarification there.
Was that the second half of that battle when we were kind of wrapping out? I think that was right.
It looks like they only ran 1 hot lap, just looking at the timing. So I guess the way that we're going to run it today, if somebody goes 4 off in that first one, they're not going to win the second one. So we just claimed them, who didn't go 4 off, victorious.
Got it.
So if you're, kind of adds an interesting dynamic. If you're the first person out, you have to make sure you go fast enough to make sure that you're not going to lose the battle.
Right.
But you also have to go slow enough to make sure that you're not going to bin it and throw the whole thing away.
Right.
So adds a little bit of an interesting dynamic. So they're actually letting the top-seeded person in the battle choose if they want to lead or chase for that first battle.
Okay.
So there's also a little bit of strategy you can pick there.
Yep. All right. So and they made it real clear in the drivers' meeting, within 10 car lengths.
Yep.
And also no sandbagging. If you're kind of off pace, if you're 2 seconds off, they'll DQ you essentially.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's kind of against the spirit of the event to kind of sandbag a little bit. So some people might think it's part of their strategy, but they just you need to make sure that you don't throw it all away.
Do you have the brackets? Are they in here? Or? All right, as we progress through in our street modified.
Yeah, this is James Houghton driving the number 47 Honda Civic. This is one of 2 cars that he's driving here this weekend. So James also drives the K-tuned Integra Type R in the Unlimited class. This car is actually belongs to his mechanic, Eric Levine. So Eric is here allowing James to wheel his car and also, a car that Eric built for himself. So that Eric is just one of those people that's like, you know what? You're a better driver than me. I'm not proud. Like, just go ahead, go for it.
Yeah, so James Houghton, I believe he was supposed to go up against Angel Ortiz. Angel Ortiz was that starlet that I love so much, and don't know what happened to him, but he might have broken last night. We did have a few vehicles that had some issues and not able to make it back today. It's kind of a bummer, but that's the way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah, one of the biggest ones, though, of somebody that broke that could severely affect the outcome of this event is in the Unlimited class. We actually, the guys from RS Motors, Andy Smedgard, his Evo broke yesterday, and we do have a competitor named Richard Boak, out there in the Can Jam car, that ran the fastest lap time ever run here yesterday. Ever run at this track ever.
Yeah.
Richard Boak ran it yesterday, yesterday. He did the same thing last year when we were here at this same event. So, but, Andy's car broke. I think he bent a wrist pin, and he just had bad luck yesterday. I feel gutted for him. So, we do allow competitors to drive in 2 different classes. So Andy is actually going to be driving in the street mod class as well, just like James Houghton. So you see some of the Unlimited drivers doubling up which also might affect the outcome a little bit too, because they're getting a little bit more seat time on a track that they haven't driven very much than some of the other unlimited class competitors.
All right, so we saw the checkered flag there for James Houghton, and it looks like he obviously will advance on to the next bracket.
Yeah, James just ran a 1:16.2 for that lap there. Now, James was probably going ahead and, even though Angel isn't here, James wants to get a little bit more seat time on track for his unlimited class car. So it's likely that the final unlimited class battle could potentially be James Houghton in his K-Tune Integra Type R versus Richard Boak in the Can Jam car. So, it's very wise of James to go ahead and take advantage of the track time.
All right, so James Houghton will, don't know if they're going to let him go both laps or just that individual lap.
Yeah, we'll have to see here. If he comes into the hot pits, he's probably done, but he may end up deciding to go for it again.
Are you going to have to do both or just one? Just one, right? Did Angel break?
After the second battle, we're going to chase the black flags. No checkered flag in there. I don't want anybody to see an instinctive lift. After it's done, after they cross our finish, black flag. Somebody goes off and the battle's over, chasing the black flag. So it's not a problem.
Got it. Got it, thank you.
Somebody goes first four off, battle's over.
So automatically, you're not even, so on that first one,
If someone goes 4 off on the first one,
No,
it's
four
over.
off, the battle's over, doesn't matter.
really?
Really? So
They're
even
DQ'd on
So they are DQ'd.
okay. So
So
even if
he
they win
lost.
the first one, they DQ the second one.
Sorry about that. I think there might be All right, so getting some clarification here, Austin, getting some news here, and this is kind of an addendum to what happened last year, but if 4 tires go off, meaning if a driver goes off course, like we saw there with Pink earlier, done and done. So
Yeah.
we will not have the second half of it.
Yep.
Basically, 4 tires off, DQ, out, the other driver advances on.
So that brings strategy even more into play for the top-seeded car if they want to lead or if they want to chase.
Okay.
And some of the, the way a normal bracket works, the first battle is actually usually the fastest car versus the slowest car.
Yep.
In a 32 car field like we have now, the first car would be up against the 32nd car. So it's, there's some discrepancy there. Don't worry about the lap times as much, but in the middle is kind of where all the meat is for the early battles in the brackets. And you have to really make sure that you're not going to bin it if you choose to be the lead car.
All right, let's talk about this. We got 05 and 186.
Yep, 05 and that silver NC Miata, that's Armin
Zarnowski?
Von Zarnowski. And in that 186 S2000 with that crazy livery, that's Scott Wolford. So I do know that Scott is from the Detroit area, so he's kind of a local boy.
Okay.
But, these are pretty much 2 cars that actually compete together against each other, just the platforms, and a lot of different competition series. They're very similarly balanced, lightweight, rear-wheel drive roadsters, and most of them get campaigned a lot in a lot of different series. Now, obviously, for this street modified class, the cars are a little more lightly modified than you might see in a few of the other classes.
Yep. Track mod and then into unlimited, which is run what you brung. So we are now entering into the danger zone. These guys are going for it. I believe these are their timed runs right now.
Yep, so they're on their first flyer right now. That's turn 8 that you're seeing right now. And they pop up. There's a little crest right there into turn 9. They come around. Wow. Armin looking real good and clean through there. You can see both cars oversteering a little
Getting
bit, though.
loose. Scott
Track
gets a little
temperatures
loose.
are still a little bit cold here. They're going to pass right behind us here as they go through turn 10A and 10B. And through turn 1, the start-finish line for this event is actually after turn 2 there. So right here, Armin is coming down to the finish. And we'll have some times here for you. Armin Von Zarnowski, 118.705. Scott Wolforth, 119.346. So this first battle, Armin takes the win. They will reset and go for it again. Now, Armin was seated 15th coming in to this bracket setup, and Scott was seated 18th. So not too far apart.
Yeah.
We're going to see, a lot of these battles, everything's going to be pretty tight. Some of the drivers on the pointy ends are getting bye runs. So like Tom O'Gorman,
Yep.
he can get a little bit of sleep after driving back from Mid-Ohio and doesn't have to worry about running until the quarterfinals,
Yep.
which, anybody that wins these battles will be moving on to next. So Scott's got a real interesting livery on that car. It's one of those things that it's probably the flashiest street mod car that we have here, just from a livery standpoint.
Yeah, it just looks like he ran over somebody, to be quite honest. But Scott, we saw him get loose there, but truth be told, Armin in that Miata looked like he was really sending it and getting that back end loose. But we are now entering into this. Timing will begin, like you said, from last year to this year. The finish line has moved because we saw some braking. Notably, we were talking about the Can-Jam car last year, but now we're about to begin timing, and now it begins for Wolford and Armin.
So Armin needs to beat Scott the second battle to be able to advance. Now, if you look, that gap is actually pretty close. I don't know if Armin set that on purpose to put some pressure on Scott, maybe, to make Scott go off, but it could catch up to him because if he does not, if he doesn't leave enough of a gap, he's going to run into the back of Scott Wolford and not be able to pass him. If Scott, Scott gets loose that way.
It's very loose.
Yeah, so, it's going to depend on, that gap. If Armin didn't leave him enough space, there's a chance that Scott might win the second battle, and then they'll be forced to go into a one more time round.
So he's got. What you're saying is basically he's got to pace him properly because we're not. The drivers' meeting was all about not passing. Do not pass. So pace him properly, and with that mistake by Wolford, you saw how much ground he actually gained.
Yeah, and they're actually really close now. And if I was Armin right now, I'd be trying to put as much pressure on Scott as possible to make Scott make a mistake, so that I can go on to the next round.
Well, here we go. Just a couple more turns here. 10A, 10B, then back into that turn number 1. And look at that, Armin right there on the back of the S2000. If he has the faster time, Armin will advance in that Miata. What do we got, Austin?
So, let's see here. So that lap, Armin Van Zernoski, 119.144. Scott Wolforth, 119.945.
So that's telling me that Wolforth would get that victory, correct? By, what, 1,000th of a second?
It does appear as though Armin will move on to the next battle.
All right, so we talked about okay, so as the times are coming in here, and it looked like thousands and everything going on, so all the times, and again, we are just formulating what's going on as far as these very tight racing between these two gentlemen again. And there you go. So high five to Armin, and it was 8/10, man. That was really tight there. Armin, you're a little loose out there, man. But man, so strategy. Look like you were going to get close there to Scott. Do you like how you did you learn some things on this first battle?
Yeah, considering that I'm running on two different sets of tires. I got 205s up back, 235s in the front. Pretty good. A lot of fun. Love it. Should be like this. Nice and tight. Good show.
Where are you from?
Germany.
Germany. You're from Germany?
Well, originally but living right down the road here.
All right, we'll keep it going. You're advancing on. Congratulations, Armin, to you. You're advancing on with those tight tolerances there. And yeah, let's keep the party going. So advancing on to our next bracket here, as again, just a little bit of time between those two drivers. And we'll move on to our next bracket battle. right, well, we are back. We are live in full effect. Tom O'Gorman, who, Austin, you were saying drove to Ohio yesterday, raced, and now is back again. So he is doing multiple duties in different cars.
Yeah, you know, Tom goes, wait, there's another racetrack next door in Ohio. It's only a few hours away.
Yep.
Yeah, so Tom O'Gorman out there in that blue Subaru out leading this next battle. Tom O'Gorman is a professional racing driver, actually.
Yep.
Comes to many of our events, heard about Speed Ring, and decided to come out and try his hand.
And he was our number one qualifier, or is our number one qualifier. He's going against Chris Smith here. Chris Smith in that 135 BMW. But Chris qualified 16th. So as far as there might be a disparity here, but it's not about being the quickest, even though Tom O'Gorman did set the record for street modified class and the fastest time.
Yeah. Tom O'Gorman in that car ran a 110 yesterday. So times were relevant yesterday.
Yep.
They're not as important today. You know, they are important, but as far as movement goes,
right.
You know, just because you run the fastest lap, you know, of the day today, it could be in this first battle, doesn't mean that you're going to be overall victorious like you might be in a normal time attack, you know, setting.
All right, so this is their flyer lap. Once they cross that start finish, it's game time. So O'Gorman will lead on this first time lap. And it begins just through this chicane here. And here we go. Send it, fellas. So Tom O'Gorman, Chris Smith, this is their first time battle.
Looks like Tom coming around the corner just on it, you know, just wants to try and disappear from Chris Smith's view and maybe get in Chris Smith's head a little bit.
Right. See ya. So, yeah, Chris, quite a big gap between these guys, but I don't think that was anything that Chris Smith is playing some trickery here. I think it's just a matter of fact of O'Gorman very fast and kind of slowed himself and then blitz past that start-finish line. So O'Gorman going out of view of the naked eye of our spectators here, but now coming around that backside, there goes O'Gorman in that Subaru.
Yep, looking real good through there. We're using up all of that track.
All right, so Tom O'Gorman, look at that. Yeah, and that's what a lot
That was
of the
almost, that was almost all the way off the track surface
Right.
there. Technically that red line, but Tom O'Gorman managing to keep two wheels still in. That is not a 4-off.
That
I'm
last
looking
corner
real
there,
good through there.
That last corner, 10B, is definitely hairy. Look at this massive gap here between Smith and O'Gorman. And O'Gorman approaching the finish line. And time's now 1:11.411 with Chris Smith now approaching that finish line as well. And Smith with a 1:20.485, so almost 10 seconds.
Yeah, pretty
so 9
decent
seconds
spread
between
there,
them.
which was to be expected when you have the number 1 car against the number 16 seated
Yeah.
car. So,
All right, so we won't announce the winners until they come out of the pits. And Austin, you'll grab some words with our winner, call it out, call it like you see him, and not like you see him, but actually the clock sees him. That's the dictator here. But again, just such a unique format here. And just grab some words with our winner, right?
yeah. So they're going to reset. And now Chris Smith is going to lead Tom O'Gorman. Now, Tom needs to make sure that he leaves enough space. But obviously, I think Tom probably at this point was probably watching his mirrors, as most good racing drivers do, and noticed that he kind of checked out and just didn't see Chris Smith at all anymore. So if I was Tom, you know, I would just kind of take a lap, make sure that the gap is there, but obviously still try and, you know, put a show on for the fans.
Most definitely. Well, you saw how big that gap was between Smith and O'Gorman. Want to see what O'Gorman's going to do. Is he going to give himself enough room here? Because I'm feeling O'Gorman's going to get on the back bumper of Smith.
Oh, there we go. Tom's slowing down, building that gap up a little bit as Chris Smith comes around turn 2 to start his flyer lap. Again, right after turn 2 is where the start-finish line is.
And there they go. So now the clock has begun. O'Gorman in that chase position. I have a
two off
tires
there.
off. So yeah, you're talking about the mirrors earlier with O'Gorman. Smith is definitely checking out his mirrors, and he sees that Subaru catching up and gain some ground. O'Gorman is going to, I'm telling you, watch this. When we end this race, I think he's going to be on his back bumper.
Now, as long as Tom remembers that he's not in a wheel-to-wheel race and doesn't try to pass Chris Smith, which would result in a DQ, as long as he doesn't do that, Tom, obviously a very smart guy, and I don't think that's going to happen, but you never know.
Okay, so now here on that back side of the track, you can see O'Gorman keeping a consistent distance between him and Smith.
Yeah, O'Gorman just kind of pacing Chris Smith there, and now it looks like he's trying to apply the pressure a little bit more.
Look at O'Gorman. You can see him just kind of, let's call it what it is. He is drooling, seething right now as far as Chase. Coming into view here, 10A, 10B. It looks like O'Gorman should have the victory here. Again, he started, paced himself just a little bit. Watch this coming through the S's.
Knowing how nice of a guy Tom is, though, he's probably just analyzing Chris Smith's line and is going to give Chris Smith a couple driving pointers afterwards, as Tom likes to do. He wants everybody to get faster. So,
results are coming in, times are coming in, and Austin, we're going to pull him up here, and you can grab some words with our victor. You can see O'Gorman just, like I said, wanted to stretch his legs there. The black flags just denote that the race is over, so competition is over. So we'll bring them over here. So again, the black flag is strictly just to end the race. And again, traditionally on any normal race course, a black flag is not a good sign. But here, it's just saying, okay, race is over, bring them on in.
Yeah, and Tom O'Gorman is actually driving a borrowed car that belongs to Michael Amick. So in just a second, when Tom pulls in, you'll actually see Michael back in the background checking tire pressures and things like that to make sure that Tom is ready if he goes on to the next round.
All right, so the driver's coming in. All right,
Tom
so our two
O'Gorman
racers coming in here.
pits. And
Says
Chris
Mike.
Smith pulling up next.
All right, Austin, do the duties. You know the victor here, so call it like you see him. Good job out there, buddy.
All right, Tom O'Gorman, your winner of this battle. Nice work, though, Chris. Nice work.
All right, Austin, I want to grab some words there with Mr. O'Gorman.
Yeah, Tom O'Gorman moving on to the next round. Now, word on the street is that you went to another racetrack only a few hours away yesterday, made it back this morning, and moving on to the next round.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about seat time, right? And just having a ball with this. Really thankful for the opportunity to come to do this. I saw it last year. It looked like a ton of fun. So happy to be in it now. There's a good little, warm up, get myself familiar again with the car today. I drove a Honda Fit yesterday with a K24 in it, so a little different than this. So back up to speed, back in the flow of things, and I think the next round's going to be pretty big with Andy, it looks like, so it'll be fun.
In that second battle, I saw you getting kind of close to Chris Smith at a certain point. I wasn't sure if that was you trying to put some pressure on him. I wanted to make sure that you weren't going to go past him, that you were paying attention in the driver's meeting this morning, because obviously that would have resulted in a DQ.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, the point's not to pass. We're racing for lap time, so I'm trying to keep that in my mind that we're on the track together, we're sharing the track, but it's still all about lap time. So I saw when my mirrors got empty in the first round that the second round could just, get up to his bumper and be there, and it was all good.
All right, well, thanks, Tom. We'll see you in the quarterfinals. Tom O'Gorman, your winner from that first battle, also your top-seeded driver heading into the Street Mod bracket.
All right, Street Mod quarterfinals now advancing on. We have Casey Krebsbach, and Alex Moss.
Yeah, and actually, that is not Alex Moss in the car. Yeah. Alex was driving it yesterday, but Andy Smedgard, they're actually on a team. They're entered as a team under RS Motors and 365 Racing, so you're allowed to swap drivers if you're under a team entry. So Andy's Evo broke yesterday, and now he is driving Alex Moss's S2000 that he actually built for Alex. Yeah. So he knows the car very well. I was able to get a quick test lap in this morning, and I think we'll see an interesting battle here.
All right, so as you said, Smedgard in the yellow S2000.
Yeah, Casey Kresbach seated in this class, coming in the 8th position. So no slouch there, running a very good lap time yesterday. So this is going to be a good battle. The all-wheel drive Evo obviously has an advantage in grip and power, but Andy Smedgaard also has a lot of seat time at this track and many others. Andy also doing a lot of ice racing through the winter out in Wisconsin.
Yeah. Quickly, that Evo pulling away from the S2000, but Smedgaard very familiar with this track, and there are the times. Go ahead. And
yeah, it was a close one, but Andy Smedgaard 112.2 and Casey Kresbach 113.0. So
Okay.
Andy took that first battle. Now they're resetting. You can see here Andy Smedgaard running in front now will lead off the second battle. These guys will take a cool down lap, let the tires get a little bit of a break, and they'll go for it again. If Andy can run a similar lap time this time, in case he doesn't get any faster, he will be moving on to the next round.
All right, want to thank our sponsors who make this event possible. Speed Ring, powered by ARP and Vibrant Performance, alongside many other companies and sponsors. Speed Ring, put on by Motivicity Distribution and a lot of their partners. And as I said, powered by ARP and Vibrant Performance.
You know, we can see Andy coming down through turn 9, starting to pick up some speed as he comes through 9, and right behind us here in the announcer booth through turns 10A and 10B. It's like Casey Kresbach letting Andy get a decent gap away from him. You know, we recommend anywhere from a 5 to 10 car gap just to build up enough space. It's about what we look like right now. Man, Andy's S2000 that he's driving with that K24 in it sounds beautiful as he rockets down that straight after turn 2 into turn 3.
Yeah, absolutely uncorked when he comes by here. It is a very loud vehicle.
We go Andy into braking, down into the back section. That is the tightest corner on this track.
Really smooth there.
Right into the long, long back straight.
Okay, so Smedgaard over that small little rise. Casey there in the Evo. Like to see him close this gap
Andy,
here, maybe gain some ground. Yeah, look at that, Smedgaard getting loose.
Driving that car on the limit. Go down into braking, down into turn 9 for Andy.
All right, Smedgaard diving in here, 10A, 10B, can to keep it clean. We saw Moss yesterday actually spin out in that car. It looks like Smedgaard, look at that, nice, consistent. You could hear the throttle. Hitting that rev limiter is Casey. And crossing the finish line. We don't announce the winner till they come off track. So Smedgaard and Kresbach. All right, so that is very close. It was a real tight one there, Austin. And this is a great example of, you know, you got your rear-wheel drive, you got your all-wheel drive, you know, your Honda power plant, your swap, your this. I mean, that's a great example of fairly equally matched when it comes to, you know, on paper vehicles. But then when push comes to shove in this very short track, you got to keep it clean.
Yeah, you know, it's one of those things that there's more to it than just lap time with this too. You know, there's a little bit of strategy that comes into play, and there's also reliability of the car that comes into play as well. So if, say, in between sessions you discover something is wrong with your car and you can't get it fixed in time, you know, you only get a little bit of extra leeway.
Oh, yeah.
We're not waiting for you.
No, no. Yeah, it's there's a little bit of pressure here. It's kind of all killer, no filler. So just really going for it. So seeing the cars come here off course in the chute. Austin's going to grab some words with them, but it was really close. That was a fun one.
All right, Andy Smedgaard here in the pits. And Casey Kresbach coming in as well. Very, very, very close battle. Andy won that first battle. The second battle, only a tenth of a second decided it between you guys. And Andy Smedgard takes it home. Casey, nice work. Thanks for coming out. And Andy Smedgard moving on to the next round. Now, Andy, you haven't driven this car at this track except for that one warm-up lap this morning to help us test the timing loop and kind of get used to the car. What do you think of this car here, man? It looks like it's a riot. The one thing that I did notice, you're almost on the rev limiter here, coming through 10A and 10B. How sketchy is that?
It's not bad. This car is a little different than the Evo, and it's just kind of taking a little bit to adjust. But, I mean, this car handles awesome. Power delivery is awesome. It's a K-swap, so I got a little more torque out of corners and stuff, which is great. But, no, just getting used to the car. I think there's a little more time in it, so we'll keep pushing and see how far we get.
All right, Andy. Well, best of luck. We'll see you in the quarterfinals. Nice work, man. All right, Andy Smedgard, winner of that battle between himself and Casey Kresbach. Andy driving that RS Motors 365 Racing S2000 for the first time on this track today.
Yeah, fun vehicle there to check out. A lot of S2000s. You were making that observation and that commentary yesterday. A lot of S2000s. Do you find that to be a fairly competitive vehicle in this class, or even an upper class?
Yeah, you know, it can be, especially when you start adding forced induction and things like that. Like right now, we're looking at Dan Lewis in this next battle running a supercharged setup in an S2000. And actually ended up taking that first win against Ben Murawski, but it was very, very close.
All right, so right now I believe they are on their...
Is this their first? This is their first flyer. Sorry, I was talking to Andy.
No, this is their time lap.
Okay, yeah, this is their first flyer lap.
Yeah, so this is their actual time lap right now. Dan Lewis, great looking car, but how is it going to perform? Again, Ben in that Mini.
Yeah, so we have supercharged S2000. You can hear a little psh, psh as he goes by. Dan has been campaigning that car for a number of years and has it pretty well sorted. We're going to see some decent lap times from him.
Yeah, we can. We're kind of minimizing. Because you did the first two. Yeah, we did the first. We'll do it.
All right, and Dan Lewis, first lap for Dan, 1:14.94, 1:17.3 for Ben Murawski. So Dan Lewis winning that first part of the battle. They're going to swap positions, and Ben will lead.
Yeah, so look at that. Dan Lewis with a 1:14, Ben with a 1:17.3. So Dan Lewis with the advantage.
Oh, there we go. Dan Lewis giving
win.
a thumbs up to Ben Murawski. You can see there on the live stream. So that's just the spirit of this event. You know, even though drivers might be faster, everyone's in it together. Everyone's here to have a good time.
Yep.
Even though there is some serious money up for grabs. So just receiving word that Ben Murawski here had to put a new motor in that Mini Cooper last week and actually had to replace the clutch just last night so that he could compete again here today for the bracket battles.
That's awesome. And it seems like a lot of that's what I really have noticed a lot about the time attack drivers and specifically the speed ring drivers. They're hands-on. They're all hands on deck. They'll do it. They got to get it done. And even Smedgard and his Evo, like you said, found the part, got ahead, but with that pin being broken, just not good.
Yeah, Andy is the lead mechanic for his car and also a lot of his friends' cars as well. So very, very competent behind the wheel and with a wrench.
All right, here we go. Timing has begun here on the second lap. Again, timing, you can see Dan Lewis and Ben Murawski, who's moving on to the next portion of the bracket. So fresh clutch from last night, fresh engine from last week. Is it going to be enough to take on Dan Lewis and take out Dan Lewis? Again, Dan has the advantage right now with that win on that first battle. Look at Dan quickly getting to the back of that Mini. Love that shot. Look at that overhead.
Look at that drone shot, man. That looks beautiful. So again, you're seeing a lot of different platforms being pitted against each other. Front-wheel drive versus all-wheel drive, all-wheel drive versus rear-wheel drive versus front-wheel drive, a little bit of everything.
All right, here they go, coming into view of the stands here, the naked eye. Ben in that Mini coming in. Dan Lewis looks like he closed that gap quite a bit. Give himself just enough room. Getting a little shaky there coming to turn A at 10B. Now approaching turn 1 and that finish line. The naked eye, what do you think? Think Dan's got it again?
I think he might, but we'll see in just a moment. That gap looking a little bit smaller there, as they can see it from the sky for that drone shot. But we'll see here in just a moment who the winner is.
Times are in. Times are in. We do have a winner, and it will not go to a one more time. Well, I guess that kind of goes away. but we'll bring him over here. We'll bring the drivers over here.
That Mini Cooper of Ben kind of doing some three-wheeling, some tripoding there as he goes around. Those front-wheel drive cars occasionally, if they're real light in the rear, they can lift that inside rear if the suspension's stiff and doesn't have enough downward travel.
All right, so let's see them there on that far side there into turn 7. That is turn 7 after those big, long straightaways and the hairpin. Now coming through 8, cooling it down.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful day here at M1 Concourse.
Yeah, absolutely perfect day. I mean, some people would consider this, nice and cool and wear, tank tops and flip-flops. I don't know, Wooly normally wears those, but he's got jeans on today. But nice brisk day.
Not a cloud in the sky. I think we're going to see some good track temperatures later today. And everyone's ready to do battle, man. All right, we're bringing Ben Murawski and Dan Lewis in. All right, Ben Murawski, Dan Lewis.
All right, Austin. So if you would, who gets the win and who advances on?
All right, guys. Oh, yeah, and Ben shaking his head. He knows Dan took it. So thanks, Ben. We'll see you next time. But Dan, so moving on to the quarterfinals now. Do you have any specific strategy or anything that run? I saw you kind of pushing it a little bit here, coming around trying to close that gap. I was a little bit worried that you might end up kind of getting a little loose and potentially going 4 off it somewhere. So how'd you kind of manage that?
I'm basically just doing it for Dale, and that's pretty much my strategy.
What is that?
Nice. Now, how's the S2000 running? Good?
It's running great. It's running great. Absolutely great. So it's good for a shakedown. Looking forward to the next round with these guys. It's going to be a fun day.
Nice. Well, thanks, Dan. We'll see you in the quarterfinals. Dan Lewis, winner between himself and Ben Murawski, moving on to the next round.
Yeah, so going from the quarters to the semis. So Dan Lewis with a 114.8. Again, a 114.867 for Dan Lewis, and Ben with a 116.425. So Dan Lewis with the victory in both of those battles. He will advance on in that S2000. So moving on to our next quarterfinal bracket, Sean Krebsbach and Armin Zarnowski.
Yep. So we saw Armin earlier out battling Scott Wolforth in his S2000 in that NC Miata. Obviously moving on to the next round here to battle Sean Krebsbach in his Evo.
All right, so can we just call him AVC? I feel, or just Armin, like kind of like Prince or Madonna, just has just that one. All right, so coming in hot. This is their just warming up, and the timing will start as they cross that start-finish line. So street modified. We're talking about the modifications to the vehicles, primarily bolt-ons as opposed to ramping up through the different classes. 3 classes, up to $35,000 up for grabs.
Wow, and this is quite a large gap between Sean Krebsbach and Armin van Zarnowski. So not sure if that's on purpose, set by Armin, or if Sean just kind of took off.
All right, so time's coming in there.
Yep. Looks like Sean 112.058 and Armin with a 119.8. So Sean, the winner of that first battle, now they will swap positions and Armin will lead. Now, if I'm Sean Kresbach, I'm trying to figure out, am I going to try and put pressure on him? Am I going to leave him a good gap and try and catch him?
Yep.
Like play a game with myself? What am I going to do?
Play. Yeah, like you said, that's that chess match. You got to really think strategy here and not give yourself too much room or too little. And you don't want to pressure. You don't want to pass. All right, so Kresbach. AVC, Armin von Zarnowski. He looks good. He was dominant there on his first battle in that previous bracket, and
using up all the track there as he gains some speed. Oh, a little bit of a wiggle there.
That's what he did. That's what he did on his previous battle there. But this is not timed just yet. This is their alternating positions lap, and now the clock starts when they cross the finish line, or the start line in this case.
It's like Armin was trying to build as much of a gap and get away from Sean as possible, likely to alleviate any sort of pressure he may feel from Sean. So obviously, if you go 4 off at any point in any competition, you forfeit the whole thing.
All right, so here we go. Look at that already. So, you talked about that gap there. Is that enough? Because we saw 7 seconds between the two drivers. That might not be enough room for Kresbach, for Sean there in that Evo. Because already he's just right there on the back end of that MX-5.
Yeah, it depends on when they cross the start-finish line, how big that gap was. I didn't quite get an eyeball on it. But if Sean started that gap too small and all of a sudden has to back off so that he does not pass Armin, there could be some interesting stuff. And Armin giving that Miata almost everything it's got as he comes there through turn 8.
The gas, you saw some smoke being thrown up there. Armin looked like he was kind of questioning himself on his line, finishing out 10A and 10B, and then now into that turn 1. Sean right there. You have to assume the needle's going to be going Sean's way there, Austin.
Yeah, that's what it appears, but we won't get official word for another about half lap as these guys come in.
All right, that commences this battle in Street Mod quarterfinals.
Black flag is out, letting those drivers know that the battle is over and that they need to head in to the pits.
And this is the final battle in the quarterfinals for Street Mod. So we have narrowed it down. Is it the final battle? It's 3 more. Oh, 3 more? Oh, I apologize. There wasn't enough room on the graphics, so we actually have 3 more battles there on our graphics. So 3 more battles in Street Mod quarterfinals. See the times there. Because when the other guys go on the course, it resets.
I can go here though. You go to results. Oh yeah, the names are here too. John Kresbach.
All right, Austin, bringing them on in here. Oh, look at that. Such a nice day. Why not
Look
drop
at
the
that.
top on this
Armin,
Miata, right?
Armin dropping the top on the NC. Dropping the top, man. Going for a Sunday cruise? Yeah?
Weather is great. Fantastic event. Gotta drop the top, take it home. Perfect time.
Nice. You say take it home. What, you don't think that you won?
I have a suspicion that he did pretty well.
Yeah, Sean Kresbach, your winner. Moving on to the next round. But Armin, did you have a good time?
Yeah. This is the best event ever. Love it.
Yeah, that battle that got you into this round against Scott Wolforth was pretty interesting to watch. It seemed pretty close.
Yeah, that was nice and close. He lost a little bit on the hairpin on the second round, and but I think I think that's how you gotta drive it. You gotta go for the lap. Don't make mistakes, and great from it.
All right, man. Well, thanks for coming out. We'll see you next year.
Awesome. Real quick, I'm gonna ask Sean here. So, Sean, you advance on. Are you pumped? Do you think you can take this all the way to the top? I mean, there's some big cash up for grabs.
Definitely going to try to take it up to the top. Just take one battle at a time and see what we can do.
Cool, calm, collected, man. So, all right, congratulations. You're advancing on. Krebs back there, advancing on, taking out Armin there in the MX-5. And we will move on. I said that was the last battle, but I was mistaken. 3 more battles left here in Street Modified. You can see right there. So, Krebs back advances on. Next up, looks like Darby Barber and Jackie Ding. This should be a fun one.
Yeah, this one should be really interesting. So Jackie Ding just getting back from the Hoonigans Wanted competition. So those videos are out right now, I believe, or are coming out. I think there's like 2 or 3 of them out at the moment. Talking to Jackie yesterday, he bought a new hardtop for the car because normally at some competitions there's a street class that runs below the street modified class. And that's normally where he runs. So being able to add some aftermarket aero now, aftermarket hardtop, you can see he's got kind of a fastback hardtop on it, spoon replica top, and his S2000. Jackie's one of those people that's always very interesting to watch drive because he just, as you say, he just sends it.
Yeah.
If you want somebody to send it, Jackie Ding is your man.
And Darby Parker, one of the only females in competition out here, her and Savannah Little, who's out here but driving in the unlimited class.
Yeah, Darby driving that turbocharged Miata that she actually built herself. So she's actually a design engineer, or a designer at General Motors. So
right on.
Lives and breathes cars.
All right, here we go. So Jackie Ding, Darby Parker. You can see Jackie really trying to warm up those tires. You saw him threading it around. Approaching the start-finish line. I really do like the placement of the start-finish line. All right, so Darby Barber here in that chase position. Time has officially started here, Austin.
Ooh, Jackie Ding, a little bit of a wiggle there. So when you watch Jackie, it's that's kind of the way that it is. He drives that car on the edge at all times. I don't think he knows how to drive it any other way.
All right, so Jackie through that tight section, Darby narrowing it down over the hill and through the woods.
That gap not looking like it's getting much bigger. It actually looks like it might be closing just a little bit. She might have a little bit more rolling power there as they go down the back straight.
Look at that, getting tighter there. Really tidy line there by both of the drivers. This is where they use all the course there. We saw Smedgaard really step it out. Oh, and Darby loses
Barber
some
a little
traction.
sideways, but still staying on the gas, keeping going. That did not phase her at all. May have cost her a little bit of time, but she will be on the lead position this next lap. So
woo, Jackie.
Jackie getting a little sideways there too.
All right, so times are coming in.
Oh, Darby Barber actually taking that one. 113.953 against Jackie Ding's 114.0. That was super, super close, that first battle.
There you go.
Wow. I knew it was going to be close, but I wonder how much that slide actually cost her in lap times. That was probably at least 2, maybe 3/10 of a second there. So now that they swapped and she is in the lead, she might be able to take off. Now, if I'm Jackie Ding, I'm going to try and start that as close as I can to her and kind of put some pressure on her to maybe cause her to make a little bit of a mistake and cost her some time.
All right, so Darby with the win on that first battle, alternating positions. Jackie Ding now feeling the pressure. Are these guys utilizing kind of comms? Are they talking?
No, most of them don't have any comms. Some of the higher cars do. Like yesterday when we were doing a photo shoot with the Can Jam guys, their crew chief gave me the headset, and I was actually able to talk to Richard Boak. But most of your street mod and your track mod drivers do not have comm systems.
So that brings up a great point. Darby doesn't know that she has the win. Jackie doesn't know he has a loss.
Nope.
I mean, just if you don't have comms, you're just going for it, And as you said, let's send it here. The second battle here between Darby and Jackie Ding. So Darby won that first battle. Let's see who can keep it cleaner, keep it tight and right, because both of them had some mistakes there on that first battle, Austin.
Yeah, and you can actually see, looks like Jackie Ding has his side mirrors folded in a little bit for some aero, especially now that he is not being chased at all.
He's about to go plaid. He's going to go ludicrous here in a moment.
So we'll see as they go. This one, I don't think we're going to know who is going to win this one until we see the lap times come in.
Do you know the reference that I said going plaid?
Nope.
You didn't.
Nope.
Gosh, dang it.
I don't know any references.
Another lost pop culture reference on you. Spaceballs, dude. Spaceballs.
I remember watching Spaceballs. I just don't remember that.
No, nothing.
Nope.
All right,
Nope.
whatever. All right. Yeah, we've been jammed. Thank you. I just yelled jammed. That's another one.
Oh, Jackie
Ding.
Ding. A little bit of a dirt drop there.
Throwing
Wonder if
a little
that cost
brown
him any
cloud.
time. This one is going to be really close, though. Jackie Ding getting a little loose in the same spot Darby Barber did earlier.
Darby Barber, a little hop, skip, and a jump there, coming out. One more turn through that chicane and approaching that finish line. Let's bring him up here. So now, even if they have to go one more time, we're still going to bring him up here. That just brings a little more suspense to it. So don't announce it, Austin. You got a little giggle factory going right now. What do we got here?
It was close. It was real close.
All right, so if they go one more time, we'll bring them up here. So, all right. All right, so again, Darby Barber won that first battle. Jackie Ding, we saw him get loose, throw up a little brown cloud there, maybe get a little pink eye. Fortunately, nobody was following him. As now we're going to bring him up here. So it comes down to battle, the first one, the second one, and if both drivers win a battle, they're going to go at it again. So, Austin, that was a fun, tight race there, and that's a fairly, Miata versus S2000. That's battle of the ages.
Yeah, and you saw there at the very end, Jackie Ding pushing as much as he could. I did notice he carried a lot of speed down into turn one. That's really where it looks like he closed the gap mostly, down there in that tight turn one, right before the start-finish line.
All right, well, you have a lot of history with Time Attack and these racers, so go ahead and do the honors. Again, do we have a victor? Darby winning that first battle and then going to the second. Austin?
All right, guys, it was real close. Guess what? Gonna send it again. One more time.
Oh,
One more time.
We're calling time out here.
Receiving word from Jackie Ding that he is out of fuel, so he needs to refuel. I'll leave that up to Time Attack Director Abe Smucker to make the call on what your options are, Jackie. Jackie, though, looks like you got a little bit of a dirt drop there coming through 9, but I really could tell you pushed the braking zone down here into 1. I feel like that's where you picked up most of your time. What do you think?
The times are actually pretty good. I'm getting some fuel cut out of turn 4. So as the back straight, I'd be 6,000 RPM, drop to 5, and then I have to go all the way back up. I'm losing about half a second right there. That's pretty much all my time is losing. I'm going faster than I was yesterday. If it wasn't for that, I just need some fuel to get me back, and I think I can win this one.
Yeah, these S2000s, very notorious for fuel starve if you run them down low on fuel. I can see you've got about a quarter tank here, and with the way you're driving with the G-forces, definitely sloshing that fuel over, causing a little bit of fuel starve. So we'll send you guys one more time. I'll let you talk to Abe Smucker. Looks like you'll probably have enough time to get some fuel, though. All right, Darby Barber, nice work. It was a close battle. Obviously, one win for you, one win for Jackie Ding. You got a little bit of sideways there, and I thought it might have cost you the win, but you were able to pull it out there for that first battle. What's it like chasing Jackie?
It's crazy. I've seen his YouTube videos, and I know he's crazy fast. When I saw his up against Jackie, I was like, crap, but I'm really excited to be going against him. It's kind of like an honor, so I'm stoked.
All right, we'll let you guys reset and send it one more time, and we'll let Abe Smucker, our Time Attack Director, take over from here. All right, good luck, guys. Good luck, Jackie.
Thank you, Austin. Let's pull up those times there because it was really tight there on that second battle. Super tight between these two, and already our next pair already on the track, so we'll revisit this one more time battle between these two drivers. But if you could, again, Darby Barber and Jackie Ding, they're on that second battle.
Yeah, Jackie Ding ran a 1:13.829. against Darby Barber's 113.698. So very, very close. Less than a tenth of a second there, separating. Less than a tenth of a second there, separating those two drivers.
All right, so we advance on to our next bracket, our next pair. And we have Shylin Wu and Alex. Is it Villa or Villa? Alex there. Alfa Romeo, I believe. Yeah, the Alfa Romeo. Brand new vehicle. So Shylin Wu, elaborate on that vehicle yesterday. It was awesome, that supercharged V6. Shylin Wu. And the clock is starting here. This is just warming it up. But Shylin ripping. All right, Shylin Wu. Quite a departure between these two drivers, Alex and then Alfa Romeo. Shylin brings it into that start line and finish with a 113.642. Alex back quite a big distance here. Alex qualifying 19th and Shylin qualifying 3rd yesterday, so quite a difference between these two vehicles. And there comes in with a 121. 121 for Alex. About 8 seconds between the two. Shylin Wu will have the win in that battle. All right, so Shylin. Alex now out front. Austin, what's going on?
All right, so for the battle between Jackie Dean and Darby Barber, they're going to run in their original first battle format. So Jackie Dean will be leading, Darby Barber will be chasing. So which actually is the place I would actually want to be. Got a little carrot out there, chase the carrot. You don't feel the pressure from behind as far as, watching your mirrors and ending up going off. So that is actually the preferred position for me. We saw that first battle, Darby Barber getting a little bit sideways and actually still winning. So it looks like Jackie drove a lot cleaner first lap. So really, it's hard to tell who might win.
All right, so Alex here out front, and with 7 seconds between them, don't know if this is the right strategy for Shylin Wu.
Yeah, Shylin running pretty quick in his V6 Mustang with the supercharger on it. Now, if he gets too close, he's going to have to back off eventually, which could potentially cause a little bit of a lap time discrepancy, and Alex Villa could end up running a faster lap time. So if I were Shylin right now, I would be giving Alex a little bit more space. He's already going to feel the pressure.
Oh, for sure.
You could be 2-3 car lengths behind. As a driver, you know that other car is there. It does make for some great footage.
No, it looks great. So the Alfa Romeo of Alex Villa out front, and Shylin now coming into the big 10A, 10B turn. Look at the attitude of look at the difference between the two cars. You can see Alex, just the body roll and this minimal roll from the Wu Mustang. And approaching that finish line, time's coming in, and results will be given. Oh, wow, look at that. So, again, really tight times between them, but Shylin and Alex will be coming into, and we'll see if they go one more time or if we have a victor advancing on.
Those you don't see too many of those Alfa Romeos around in general, let alone at a track.
Right.
It's actually a really, in my opinion, a really beautiful sedan.
Yeah. And it got, I believe it got like Motor Trend Car of the Year last year. Right?
which is kind of impressive,
Yeah,
being that Alfa Romeo hasn't been in the U.S. market for years and years until they brought out the 4C and then that Giulietta. So two very different cars there, that Alfa Romeo of Alex Villa and that V6 supercharged Mustang of Shailin Wu.
All right, Austin's going to grab some words with our two competitors and a potential victor. We still will revisit Jackie Ding and Darby Barber, which is our first one more time battle. Again, either driver winning one bracket battle. You can see Austin here. There's that Alfa Romeo.
All right,
about Alex
we got
Villa.
Alex and Shailin. Now, Alex, Shailin was pretty close to you there, pretty much that whole second lap. Were you feeling the pressure?
A little bit, yeah. I felt him backing up a lot, but yeah, I felt the pressure a little bit.
Well, I was a little afraid that Shailin might have actually messed that one up, because if he started real close to you, then gave you a little bit more space, could have changed that lap time. And actually, it was real close, only 0.2 of a second in that second battle, but Shailin's still taking the win. So, Alex, thanks so much for coming out. We'll see you next time. Shailin, how's it going, man?
Pretty good. I think it's a very tight battle, and the Alpha definitely went all out. I see him driving very hard.
I was a little worried there that that second battle, you pretty much were just kind of putting pressure on him the whole time, kind of almost tailgating him. I was a little afraid, though. I saw you build up a little bit of a gap at a certain point. I was afraid that was going to cause you to have a little bit slower lap time, but still, even trailing him, still was able to close the gap to about 0.2 of a second. So moving on to the next round.
Thank you. Yeah, I didn't gap too much when we started, so I was trying to catch up a little bit, but I wanted to keep a safe distance for sure. It's a good battle.
All right, Shailin Wu, and pretty much one of the most distinct sounding cars here, this supercharged V6. So we'll see you in the quarterfinals. Thanks, Shailin.
All right, so Shailin Wu advances on to that supercharged V6 Mustang. And let's revisit Jackie Ding and Darby Barber. As you said, the format on this battle, it being a one more time, you revisit with Jackie Ding out front, Darby Barber in the chase position. And away they go.
Yeah, both of their first battles were very, very, very close. It's hard for me to tell who's going to win this one. Jackie already on a flyer almost looking like he's trying to build a little bit of a gap there. Don't know if that's part of the strategy so that he can kind of get in Darby Barber's head and be a little bit more intimidating on track. Darby actually performing really well in the chase position earlier when they had this same battle format for their first round battle. This is their one more time. So Darby won the first one, Jackie won the second one, and now we will crown a winner of this battle here in just a few short moments.
Woo, hearing some squealing of the tires there from Jackie Ding out front.
All right, Jackie Ding and Darby Barber starting their flyer lap. Ooh, Jackie getting a little bit sideways there, though. Still managing to maintain control, using up all that track. Darby Barber, though, not too far behind, looking nice and tidy coming through there. Much different driving style than Jackie Ding, but still similar results. As they go down that long back straight, Darby Barber's Miata is turbocharged. It's obviously how that gap does not get any bigger down the back straight. Jackie Ding looking nice and clean there, but coming up through this corner, both drivers getting real loose here when they were in the chase position. We'll see. Yep,
Woo!
Jackie
Jackie doing it
again.
again.
Dirt. Darby, though, managing to keep it nice and clean.
Jackie is humdinging around this place. Darby Barber, a little bit of a gap here.
Jackie Humding.
Jackie Humding. All right, approaching that finish line, and we will bring them up here in the off track, and Austin will grab some words. Judging by, Jackie going off, Darby, a little bit of a gap there, stayed fairly consistent. I know you have the results over here, buddy, but if you didn't see those, what would you think?
Looking at it, Jackie is obviously driving a little bit more on edge. That's just his driving style in general.
Like you said, he just goes for it.
Yeah, he just goes for it. But Darby, obviously, still a phenomenal driver in her own right, obviously winning that first round battle against Jackie. So, from a visual standpoint, Jackie looks like he's going faster, but as we saw from the results from the first battle, Darby, it could be anyone's game, to be honest.
All right, so they're making their way around on this cool-down lap. The black flags are out, meaning this has commenced, and we do have a winner here in this first one-more-time battle. All right, we'll bring him up here, and we'll advance on. Thrown to you.
All right, guys, it was a close battle. Pretty close battle.
Fingers are crossed over here. Darby's like, whatever.
Jackie Ding taking the win.
Jackie Ding gets the win. Have some words with Darby. She was clean out there. Jackie was getting into the dirt, man.
Yeah, Darby, what made you came in and you go, I think he won. What made you say that?
I blew it in turn one again. I did the same thing last time. I was trying to brake earlier. I messed it up. I tried downshifting to second to save some time, and then I missed third gear. So at that point, I was like, it's done. It's over. Because the timing light's right after that corner, and I knew I couldn't make it back up.
Yeah, for me, driving in that second position actually is the more comfortable spot, especially for the pressure. If Jackie would have been behind you. But I think you were trying to battle yourself a little bit there and got in your head a little bit, huh?
Yeah, I was trying to brake early, but I was trying to push it a little more and cost me. So, it is what it is. That's racing.
All right, well, very nice work today, forcing a next round battle against Jackie Ding. But unfortunately, that third round goes to Jackie Ding. So we'll see you next year. Thanks, Darby.
Austin, I'm going to have some words with Jackie Ding over here. You had your fingers crossed, man. I mean, did you think you had it? You were a lot looser. You got into the dirt. And also, do you want to thank this hard top as opposed to the soft top now?
Absolutely. This hard top is giving me a lot of safety, so I can push a little harder. If I roll over, I'd probably still be in one piece instead of multiple pieces. But Darby did an awesome job. She put a lot of time on me in the first round. I ran a 14 flat in the first one, and she was a 14.5 or 14.4. So she closed at least half a second in the first session of the morning. That's props to her. She did a great job. I had a little more pace, I think. I couldn't tell because I had my mirrors folded in. I could not see. I just tried to push as hard as I can, and obviously a little too hard with a dirt drop. But that was good. Got the win. We'll see what happens.
Jackie, are you liking this format? Do you like the whole bracket battle, the one more time? And it's fairly reminiscent of drifting. Do you like this format? It's kind of all killer, no filler. Austin was giving you compliments saying that you're kind of the guy to send it and just get it done.
I've tried to send it. Sometimes too hard. Last year it didn't go well. This year it went okay. We'll see how far we can go. I love the format. It's a lot of pressure. I'm one usually panicking under pressure, but this is a good training, so good.
All right, congratulations. We'll see you moving on to the next round of battles here. Austin, that was a fun one. Great opportunity to see the first one more time battle, but our next competitors are already on. And this is our last battle of the quarterfinals.
Yep. Yeah, we've got Eric Dewey DeWitt out there in his Subaru against Chad Slag in his Integra. So Chad actually has two cars that he's running this weekend. He's got that and a red Civic. So we'll see the Chad Slag name later on today. But Dewey looking real good as he comes down through there. These guys are just on their outlap, though. Chad, actually, that red car is an H1 Honda Challenge race car. He's in his white car right now. In that car, he was having some brake booster feel issues. He took the trans out, in an hour and a half yesterday.
Oh, wow.
And replaced the diff and put it back in all in an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So that
Again,
card.
They know their vehicles. A lot of these time attack guys and gals know their vehicles, the ins and outs, and will thrash on it and get it done.
Yeah, Chad Slag was 11th seeded coming into this battle. Eric Dewey DeWitt was 6th seeded. Now, Dewey actually was out here for some testing on Friday, blew the motor in that car,
man.
and had his buddies from Six Star bring out another motor from Chicago. They swapped it overnight on Friday, put it in, and now Dewey finds himself in the 6th-seeded spot here in the street modified bracket, being able to replace that motor overnight on Friday night so that he could run yesterday.
All right, so the time is a ticking. This is their actual timed lap here. So,
Oh, Dewey getting a little bit sideways there coming into turn 9.
all right, Dewey really holding on.
Yeah, Chad Slag, not a slouch of a driver himself. Very, very competent driver. Yesterday was having issues with the diff. So, even though he was seated in 11th spot, this is going to be a close battle now that Chad has a working car.
And there we go. Times are in. Eric Dewey DeWitt with a 112.747. Chad Slag with a 113.86. So Dewey in that Subaru takes the win in this battle. So Eric Dewey DeWitt gets the victory on this battle. Still the second half of this. So Dewey will now get the clean air up front. And Chad Slag. And there you go. So alternating positions here. Sorry, reverse that. Slag will now be out front in the Integra, and Dewey DeWitt will be out back.
Yeah, so now if I'm Dewey, I probably noticed that I pulled away a little bit for that first lap. Now in my head, I'm going, what do I do? Do I leave a big gap? Do I, put a lot of pressure on Chad? What do I do? Because there is a lot of strategy that comes into this that can affect the outcome. Last year at this event, we saw Chad Slag tailgate one of his competitors that he was much faster than pretty much the whole time, and it actually cost him for one of the battles. So there can be a significant difference in strategy based on how you set everything up. Chad Slag looking real tidy there coming through turn 3. Looks like Dewey left him a pretty decent gap, though. Dewey obviously winning that first battle with a 112.747, but Chad Slag running a 113.860, so about 1.1 seconds between these two drivers in that first battle.
Fairly equally matched. So again, we saw it earlier. We saw 4 tires off with one of our racers. The temps are coming up. It's kind of warming up here. The sun's out, full bore. As you said, no clouds in the sky. The air's still dense. It's still cold out here. I got my jacket on. You're going raw dog over here. But all right. So Slag now out front. Looks like Dewey is gaining some ground. Look at Dewey. Throws it in. Now 10A, 10B. A couple more turns for glory. Who's going to be advancing on here? Austin.
Let's see now. It looks like Dewey put a new motor in, and both of these guys actually having mechanical issues throughout the weekend. Dewey's mechanical issue was just a little bit bigger, but we'll see. It looks like that gap may have gotten a little bit smaller. So closing that gap a little bit, but we'll see who the winner is here when they come in, and we'll crown a winner of this first battle potentially, or send them on for a one more time round if Chad Slag was able to run a faster lap time than Eric Dewey DeWitt. Quick breakdown of the bracket battles, though. If you're just tuning in, you might not quite understand what we're doing with the bracket battles. Yesterday, we had all of our cars running lap times, their fastest lap time of the day yesterday, put them in a seed spot for a traditional bracket setup. So now with the brackets, we have one car versus another car head-to-head. The first battle goes out. They run a warm-up lap, then run a hot lap We figure out who ran the faster lap that time and crown a winner of the first part of the battle. Then they take a cooldown lap, swap spots, and we crown a second winner. So we're looking for best 2 out of 3. So if you win both of them, you move on to the next round, or do we force another battle? All right, Chad Slag yesterday had some diff issues. Heard you pulled the trans, fixed it, put it back in an hour and a half.
Yes, sir. Yesterday, pulled the trans after the first session and got it back in. Just happy to be here.
Yeah, you're actually campaigning 2 cars, right?
Yes, sir. Got to go jump in the other one right now for track mod.
All right. Well, unfortunately, I think the TCS Integra is done for the day, but we'll see you out in the Civic later. Eric Dewey DeWitt taking the win on this battle. Thanks, Chad. All right, Dewey, what's going on, man?
What's up? Oh, dude, I was worried after first lap, but obviously we're smoking like crazy now. We put this thing together with spit and tissue 2 nights ago, and I'm just happy to be here, and obviously we still have our issues, but she runs. Happy to go on to the next round.
Yeah, well, congratulations. We'll let you get out of here with your smoke machine, but real quick, you guys actually, I was explaining to some of the viewers, you actually blew the motor on Friday, a new motor that you built and put in. Sorry. Yep.
To us from Chicago. We had a new motor ran out to us from Chicago from a buddy of ours. We had our guys at the shop put it together, slapped it together, threw it in the car, and ran it to us. And we installed it Friday night into Saturday morning. No sleep, just went hard, and now we're here competing. I can't be happier. I got the best team in the world. Like, 6 Star is killing it for us.
Nice, nice. Yeah, it's obviously paying off as you advance to the quarterfinals.
Woo! I'm so happy.
All right. Well, we'll see you in the quarterfinals. Thanks, Dewey.
All right, there it is. There is our street modified Fuel Lab digital fuel delivery current standings. So we already have going into the semis there, John Kresbach going against Jackie Ding, then Shylin Wu versus Eric Dewey DeWitt, who just most recently got that victory. So those are the final 4 here as we advance on through the street modified, Austin.
Yeah, you know, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Traditionally, Jackie Ding and Eric Dewey DeWitt have a long-standing rivalry.
Yeah.
So if those two end up being in the finals, it'll be interesting. But if you look at the seed times from yesterday, looks like it's going to tip in the favor of Sean Kresbach and Shylin Wu.
All right, and there we go. You can see the street modified. Right here, you see Tom McGorman, RS Motors, Dan Lewis.
Yeah, and we can take like a break as like they reset, get everything ready.
fight against them. The EMTs on track should have some.
1 minute? Cool. Do this real quick.
You kept saying quarterfinals?
No, this is the semis. Oh yeah, quarters, semis.
It's okay.
It's first string in the morning, that's where all we're just getting warmed up. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, so he gets a Darius Ajax.
All right. Well, we are entering into the Airlift Performance Track Modified quarterfinals. The quarterfinals are here for Track Modified. Austin, we already see a few drivers having bye runs. Either they qualified high and not enough drivers to fill up the brackets, or we have already had some mechanical failures.
Yeah, so Luke McGrew actually was the top seeded time for the track modified class. He gets a bye run because we don't have a 16th competitor, so he'll be moving on. But Scott Shadbolt will actually be moving on to the next round because Darius Zajac actually broke. Some of you, if you read any of the articles last year, Darius Zajac actually was here last year battling Matt Jensen, who you're seeing on track right now. Interesting story, though. Matt Jensen was actually Darius Zajac's first instructor ever.
Oh, really?
So, and Darius actually almost beat Matt out last year.
So the Padawan beats the Jedi.
Yeah. So
another pop culture reference. Do you get that one, though?
That one's Star Wars.
Okay.
I know that one just because you said Jedi.
No, it was Star Trek.
It was Star Trek?
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I know it was Star Trek.
Yes,
So-
that was a good job, Padawan.
Yeah, I got that one. So what you're looking at right now, you're seeing Will R. Young out there in the Vibrant Performance RSX leading Matt Jensen, who we were just talking about. Will R. Young with the number 5 seed, Matt Jensen with the number 12 seed. What's interesting, though, the top 8 cars in the track modified bracket, as far as seed times go, were separated by only a second. So only a second separated those 8 drivers. This is a very, very tight field. This is going to be probably the most interesting battle.
Whoa.
Oh, Will R. Young there, dropping 2 wheels off there, going through corner 3.
Looks like he might have tweaked his arrow even.
Yeah.
Maybe
and
no.
he's throwing
No.
a little bit of sparks there. A lot of these time attack guys that have big splitters on the front have some titanium reinforcement plates underneath. And anytime those make contact with the track, they throw some sparks. It actually creates some pretty cool looking shots.
Some cool shots. All right, so Willow Young out front in that Vibrant Performance vehicle and the Corvette.
So Will actually currently the fastest time attack driver in North America at another event in his main car. This is actually his backup car right now. He also has a Civic Si that looks very similar, but ran a 1:19.5 at Road Atlanta.
Wow.
It's the fastest any production-based car has ever gone there.
All right, so Willow Young ripping out of 10B into turn 1. And
we're actually over
Matt
in
Jensen.
we were in Matt Jensen's garage yesterday. He's a member here and just swapped front tires from a 285 to a 315 front last night.
Times are coming in. What do we got, Austin?
It's like Will R. Young ran a 110 at 259. Matt Jensen 114 at 471.
All right, so 4 seconds, but it's not a cumulative. It is the fastest time of the two. So Will L. Young with the victory on that battle. Let's go into alternate positions. Matt Jensen will be out front. Will L. Young with all the aero, and this is just a great example of front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, aero, not aero. I mean, this is a really great example of the bracket battles.
And yesterday, I think I mistakenly called Matt Jensen's Corvette a Z06. It is actually not a Z06, it's a Grand Sport. And he picked it specifically because the Grand Sport comes with a motor that has a little bit more durability, I guess. It's a dry sump, straight off the bat. You don't have to upgrade anything. It has a little bit thicker cylinder walls, too, that can deal with track pressures a little bit more. And also doesn't cost as much. So he picked it very specifically for track use.
Yeah, I had an opportunity to drive one of those out in Primm, Nevada, Spring Mountain.
Oh, at Spring Mountain, yeah.
Yeah, Spring Mountain.
Yeah, Matt's actually a member here, so has a lot of laps. Coming in to this event, one of the only members running, probably has more track knowledge here than many of the other competitors.
And that's definitely an advantage, but guess what the disadvantage is? Going against Will Young.
Yeah. So what I like, though, you see these two cars, Will's RSX is pretty crazily modified, but Matt Jensen's, he drove that thing home last night.
Right.
So, two different ways to make speed. Obviously, Will's car is making a lot more power. Matt's car is making 436 horsepower, 430 torque to the wheels. It's no slouch, but Will's RSX is probably making 500, 600 plus on a Borg Warner EFR turbo set.
Yeah, but just crazy aero, very settled. A lot of track time in that vehicle. I mean, with it being track specific, it is it's fierce. Steve Sullivan, we're looking for you to make your way to the grid. Again, paging Mr. Sullivan. You have a telephone call at the front desk. Paging Steve Sullivan, make your way to the grid for competition. Again, Steve Sullivan, you are up next.
All right, Matt Jensen looking real tidy there, coming through turn 9 and through 10A and 10B right behind us. Looks like Will may have closed that gap just a little bit, though.
I was going to say, Will looked very smooth, and you can hear him not really on throttle, but then just as he came out of that corner, you saw kind of kick out and break a little loose here. So. All right, Austin, the times are coming in here. We'll bring the drivers over here.
Yeah, this one, Matt being a member here played into this a little bit. But Will Young also, being able to turn a decent amount of laps. And Will's pretty good about picking up tracks pretty quick. As a national level time attack driver, you end up going to tracks that you don't know pretty often and have to turn results. So that played into this a little bit as well. So we'll see who the winner was in just a moment.
So this is our first battle here in track modified. Got a few here. This is a very competitive class. Austin, would you say this is kind of the most competitive?
Yeah, the top 8 cars, their seed times from yesterday were all within a second of each other.
Wow.
So very, very close. I mean, that's what you end up finding in professional level motorsports. Sometimes you don't even find that in professional level motorsports.
All right. Could see Matt Jensen making his way over here to the off track, and Will Young, Vibrant Performance, RSX. Austin, you want to grab some words there with Matt?
Yeah. Now, Matt, as a member here, you've turned lots and lots of laps here. How is it to drive at a track that you know really well in a competition format like this?
I've never been here before in my life.
Never.
It's a great experience. Still working on the car. I had nothing for Will today. We talked for quite a while this morning, but gave it my best. A lot of fun, great event. Thanks everyone for coming out.
Now, we were hanging out in your garage here yesterday. You had swapped to some 315 fronts. Does the car feel any better?
Not any different, no. No, I thought the wider tire would help out this morning. It did not. I've got plenty of heat in them. I got to go back to the drawing board, and I'll come for Will next year.
All right. Well, already sounding like Matt Jensen knows that Will Young took the win against him. So, Matt, thanks so much for coming out, and over to you.
Yeah. So, Will Young, congratulations, buddy. You move on. No one more time. Good job, little knuckles there. You got to love this track, man. From what I understand, you really like it here. This isn't your main car. You looked fast. How are you feeling? Do you think you're going to take it to the top?
I think we're doing pretty good right now. We're still trying to dial this car in for this track, and it's great. Motivisti Speedring is honestly an epic event. Look at the crowd. Look at the vendors. It's like phenomenal to be a part of it.
All right, well, congratulations. We'll let you get out of this suit. Congratulations, Will Young, your winner on our first battle here. And moving on in that Vibrant Performance RSX, we already had some bye runs there, but again, the Airlift Performance Track Modified, Will Al Young advances on, taking out Matt Jensen. Kind of what we expected. Why did Matt kind of playing silly there and saying he's never been here before?
Never. You been here? You got a lot of laps here, right? No,
Yeah.
never been.
All right, so track mod, quarterfinals advance on. Who do we have next, Austin?
So up next, you'll see a red Corvette, car number 22. That is Jason Harding. Jason running really well yesterday. We also, another familiar name that we talked to maybe like 15, 20 minutes ago, Chad Slag.
Right.
Chad Slag obviously out in that white TCS Integra, now out in his Civic Si. Chad is a big Honda guy if you can't figure that out, based on the fact that he brought two Hondas.
Matt coming in, graphics.
So these two drivers out right now, just on their outlap, and it looks like Chad might be leaving Jason Harding a little bit of a gap there.
All right, so a lot of these drivers, like you said,
Slag
getting some more experience on this track.
Oh, Chad Slag coming in. Not sure what the deal is.
Oh no, looks like Slag giving thumbs down. Gloves are off. This could mean an automatic advancement there for Jason Harding. You could see there, Slag pulling in, gloves are off, and we saw the universal signal for a bummer, and that's thumbs down.
Yeah, just talking to Chad Slag here. Feels that something is not quite right with the car, so doesn't want to risk oiling down the track. Obviously, any sort of oil on the track surface would cause a cleanup. So Chad obviously having a lot of experience, knowing his car very well as well, choosing to bring it in, obviously not wanting to cause any damage to the motor, but also not wanting to oil down the track and risk messing up the competition for the rest of the competitors.
All right, so it's a nice, graceful thing to do. Obviously, keep it off the track and not pop your engine.
So you see Jason Harding out there, though, currently running. We're waiting on official word from Abe Schmucker on if we might be able to give Chad Slag a little bit of leeway so that he might be able to get the car fixed and go out and battle Jason Harding. Jason Harding coming in to the pits right now. So just talking to Motorsports Director Adam Jabay here. Adam Jabay knows a little bit about Chad Slag's car. That Civic Si, the red one that Chad is taking back to the pits to work on right now, was never a street-driven vehicle. Was sold as a production vehicle, but was built into a race car by King Motorsports as a brand new shell. So that car has never seen any street miles. Has always been a fully caged race car.
Okay, so how it's unfolding here is Chad Slag, as Austin was talking about, having a mechanical issue, pulls off course. So what's happening here is Slag pulls off Harding actually doesn't have to let Slag and give him ample time to fix his car. But Harding, being the gentleman that he is and being the sportsman, he wants to win properly. He says, you know what? I'm going to go and let him work on his car. Like to see a good competition. So Slag is able to get hands on his car, check it out, and then hopefully we'll see Harding and Slag actually do battle.
Yeah, and hopefully Chad doesn't have to replace the transmission in that car like he did last night in his other car. I don't think we can give him an hour and a half. Official word from Abe Schmucker and Adam Dubé. We can give them 2 battle rounds worth of leeway time so that Chad can get that car fixed.
All right, well, so nice gentlemanly thing to do there for Mr. Harding. But Slag looks like he's got some work cut out for him to see what's going on with the car and see if he can make it back out here for the battle in track mod. So we will move on to our next duo. All right, so again, track mod round 1, the quarterfinals. Just a few battles in. And an absolutely beautiful day out here at M1 Concourse.
And, you know, M1 Concourse is a pretty new track, to be honest, only opening for business just a few years ago. So this the ground that we're actually standing on right now used to be an automotive manufacturing facility. First opened in 1905 and then grew and grew and grew. And then General Motors finally ended up with it, you know, for the past couple decades, ended up cutting it loose in 2008. You can see there's essentially 10 corners here. You're looking at the graphic right now. Interesting corners of note. Corner 1 is a very interesting corner, especially for these drivers in this bracket battle format. Corner 1, start-finish is actually in between 2 and 3, so it's a little past corner 2. But that means that tight corner 1, you still have to really, really be on the power, make sure you don't blow that braking zone to be able to finish your lap right there at the end. So corner 6 is also a really, really tight spot, probably the tightest corner on this track. We saw, you know, a couple of the front-wheel drive cars lifting an inside rear wheel there. We saw some other cars kind of getting a little sideways. Just one of those places that it's the slowest corner matched right after that by the fastest straightaway as well. You also have an interesting area after turn 8. In between turn 8 and turn 9, there's a crest. So there's a crest there, you crest, and then you have to be on the brakes. You know, if you get on the brakes while the car isn't settled, it could be a little interesting. So some of the faster cars, like the unlimited classes, can create a little bit of drama, which we saw earlier as cars, you know, like Jackie Ding and some others getting pretty sideways there in corner 9.
And then, of course, 10A, 10B, nice big sweeper here. And if you choose your line wrong, you could end up overcooking it and send it on the outside. We saw early on in the day here, one driver going into the cones, got DQ'd out of the competition, but then, but also choosing the right line and being fluid, carrying that speed all the way into turn 1. So it looks like, wow, just a quick fix there for Chad Slag and Jason Harding. Again, a nice gesture for him, sportsmanship, and saying, you know what, go ahead, fix your car. Want to win this thing properly or lose it.
Yeah, you know, and this is an interesting battle. You know, you have pretty much a brand new C7 Corvette against an old 99 2000 EM1 Civic SI, man.
Is he running, what's he, is it B series in there?
I don't know exactly. I believe that car was turboed last year. Don't quite have the notes on it. But I do know that car was actually built up from a brand new showroom car, directly went to the shop back in 99 2000.
Wow.
Put a cage in and turned into a race car. So Chad's not the original builder of it. He's only the caretaker of it for the past couple years. And Chad just tends to collect Honda race cars. So I don't know how many of them he's sold, but I know he's got probably 7 or 8 of them at home.
Right. All right, so this is the warm-up lap. They're going to be crossing the start-finish here momentarily.
And you can actually see Jason Harding slowing down a little bit here to help Chad Slag catch up. There we go, and Jason Harding back on the power down into turn 1. So I guess he realized he got a little bit too far away and wanted to be chased a little more closely by Chad Slag.
All right, here we go. Harding out front and Slag in that Civic chasing him down. What kind of times are we going to see here, Austin?
You know, I'd be expecting to see probably in the low teens, maybe even the high 109 range.
Wow,
so,
really?
Yeah, 9s, 10s, 11s, 12s is kind of where most of these track mod competitors fell yesterday at least. So So your top-seeded track or lap time from yesterday belongs to Luke McGrew in his Viper ACS. Ran a 108.9.
Yeah.
And actually, interesting story about that. Yesterday, Abe Schmucker was telling me that Luke McGrew pulled in and said, I saw my lap timer was a 108. I saw on a lap timer was a 108. And Abe was like, yeah, it was a 108.
Wow.
So we'll see Luke competing a little bit later. But right now, you're looking at Jason Harding finishing up his first flyer lap against Chad Slag there in the Civic Si.
All right, so Jason Harding crosses the finish line. And times come in with a 111.127 for Jason Harding and Chad Slag with a 116.846. So Jason Harding does win that battle.
So
that was kind of to be expected.
Yeah. You know, when you see a big horsepower Corvette like that against probably just a lightly modified B series, or it might be, I can't remember if that car is turbocharged.
Yeah,
I think it might be turbocharged actually. But you'll see them swap spots right here as they go down the back straight. Chad will now lead Jason Harding. What's going to be interesting, though, with the speed differential there, I mean, there's a good 5 seconds there. Jason has to make sure that he does not crowd Chad Slag too much at the start and have to back off by the end, causing Chad to run a faster lap time. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, we've seen larger gaps between two drivers and them actually get closer. 5 seconds between them on this first battle. And here comes Slag. He will be out front. And now Slag into that first turn. But the clock starts right now. So through that start-finish line, Chad Slag out front. Jason Harding in that chase position.
Yeah, Chad is a very, very experienced driver, been racing wheel-to-wheel for quite a while. Is actually a national director for a wheel-to-wheel racing series. So obviously always dealing with Hondas. He brought two out and unfortunately was eliminated in the street modified category in that TCS Automotive Integra, but now he's out there in that Civic Si.
Yeah, it's not, to be honest, not looking very promising, unfortunately, for Chad Slag. So double duty could be over for him in now the second car in this red Civic.
Oh yeah,
Harding
Jason
is
Harding
right
there,
there,
just tailgating him, man, just following him around. God, look how menacing that Corvette looks there, coming up over that crest in turn 9 as they pop back into view here.
All right, a couple more corners here for Harding and Slag.
Yeah, Chad Slag having all that wheel-to-wheel race experience, having that pressure of that Corvette right behind him while he drives a Civic does not even faze him. But unfortunately, we'll see. But if I had to guess, I'd say this one may go to Jason Harding, but we'll find out in a short moment.
All right, so Chad Slag did have a faster lap time on this second lap. And they will be walking in here. So Harding and Slag.
Yeah, Chad Slag did run faster than he did that first battle, but was it enough? All right, we've got Chad Slag and Jason Harding coming in to the pits. Who was victorious between these two? It's kind of the odd couple here. They match red and red. But who was victorious? So Chad, we saw you go out earlier, had a little bit of an issue, but looks like you fixed it pretty quick. What was it?
Sunday tune, a little bit lean, had 0 power up top. Said, I'm not blowing up, and I'm going to come in and make sure the track stays clean.
So did you swap a different tune on and then run it that session, or what'd you do to fix it?
Just uploaded a new tune real quick and was able to get it to go.
Nice, nice. Well, you were running some real consistent laps. Jason Harding was like right behind you, but I know with all your wheel-to-wheel experience, that didn't even phase you at all.
Sir, not at all.
So unfortunately, it wasn't enough though. Jason Harding, winner of that battle. Chad, thanks so much for coming out. We'll see you next year.
All right, Jason, K-Tech here, Corvette. You're looking strong out there. I got to say, first of all, that was really kind of you, sportsmanship, doing that, allowing Slag to work on his vehicle. Second of all, you're going against Will All Young in the next bracket. That's going to be a fun one, right?
Oh, yeah, that's going to be interesting. There's going to be a lot of downforce in that round. First round was great. Just try to get my tires warm, and then because he's got a lot of power to put down here with that K-Tech engine. So,
all right, congratulations. See you in the pits, and I'll see you in the next bracket. Again, it's going against Will All Young in the next bracket. Congratulations, Mr. Harding, and that K-Tech Corvette. All right, so the party continues here. Track Mod quarterfinals, brought to you by Airlift Performance. This is the Speed Ring, powered by ARP and Vibrant Performance. All this curated by Motovicity Distribution. Thanks for joining us out here. Austin Cabot and myself, Jared Dienda, your tour guides for today's event. Second time ever here at M1 Concourse, so just some awesome driving here. Again, up to $35,000 up for grabs, $10,000 for the fastest lap of the weekend, and then $10,000 for the unlimited winner, $5,000 for track mod and street mod, and yeah, so a lot of cash being given out, a lot of prizes, and just a unique format that debuted last year, and I would say it's just making for just a little bit more suspense and these drivers pressure. You know, asking Will All Young, I said, do you like it? He says, yeah, you know, you really have to deal with that pressure.
Yeah. You know, for an event like this, you know, I kind of wish I was still driving at times because this amount of money hardly ever gets thrown up. Like, even in some pro racing wheel series, there is not this sort of money that gets put up for winners.
Yep.
You know, I think the most I ever walked away with, and it happened once, was like a $500 check, and it didn't even cover fuel to get to the event.
Right.
So, you know, Motovicity putting up tons and tons of money to all the competitors here. Mackenzie Hinsberger, please head to grid. Mackenzie Hinsberger, please head to grid. We need you for your bracket battles. Again, Mackenzie Hinsberger, please head to grid.
All right, so we are working our way through our track mod. Got 1, 2, 3, 4 more battles left. So looks like we're halfway through our track mod presented by Airlift Performance. Round 1 and the quarterfinals advancing.
Now again, the big story here, the top 8 seeded cars for this track modified category were all within a second of each other.
That's crazy. That's great.
A second.
Yeah.
So, you know, essentially each car was separated by a little more than a blink of an eye, to be honest.
Yep. 1. There you go.
Just 1.
Just 1.
That's it.
So so as we whittle it down to the semis, that is where it's really going to get competitive. You know, right now you saw Harding make quick work of Slag. Fortunately, Slag had some issues, but when we start getting into that grade 8, as I like to call it, it's going to get pretty exciting.
So one thing that's really interesting, and as a driver, you know, when you're out there, you're running your laps, but you have no communication back with anybody. Most of these teams do not have communications. Actually, we say teams, but a lot of these guys are bringing these cars out, working on them themselves, you know, campaigning them themselves. You don't know if you won that first battle, the second battle. You have no idea until you come in, and you and I let them know who won.
Right. Yeah. All right, so track mod quarterfinals, we got Kenneth Smith versus Grant Walker. Again, Mackenzie Hinsberger, you are needed to grid immediately. Mackenzie Hinsberger, make your way to grid.
So this will be another interesting battle as well. So you have this high-powered Corvette against a little bit lower-powered Miata. Obviously, it's not a naturally aspirated Miata, but there is a little bit of a speed differential there. So we'll see how Grant Walker does up against that Corvette of Ken Smith. These drivers are on their outlap currently. coming around. That is corner 8 in the back. That is right at the end of the longest straightaway. In this section that Ken Smith's about to come up to, there is a little bit of a crest. And some of the faster cars, when you're at speed, you come up, the car gets light, and then you immediately have to be on the brakes for corner 9. Corner 9 is where we've seen a lot of action already today as cars try and push that braking zone, carry too much speed in, and get a little loose.
All right, clock is going to start now here. Round 1, track modified. Kenneth Smith, Grant Walker.
And now Ken Smith was seated 6th coming into this battle. Grant Walker was seated 11th. So there's a little bit of a, an advantage there for Ken. He's run some faster lap times here. But in these bracket battles, anything can happen.
All right, so the clock has started here for round 1. This track modified. Who's moving on? All right, the 487 Corvette doesn't go all the way out to that rumble strip. Ripping through over the crest. Now coming into turn 9 and now 10. Awesome, we're seeing a big gap here between these drivers.
Yeah, it looks like Ken Smith drove a relatively clean lap there. He's going to run probably a pretty similar lap time to what he was seated with yesterday. Grant Walker, though, looking decent, but doesn't seem to have quite the pace that he had yesterday.
All right, times are coming in here for Kenneth Smith and Grant Walker. So a 1:12.024 and a 1:17. So even with that big gap, still 5 seconds.
Yeah, and Grant Walker's lap time was actually 2 seconds slower than his lap time was yesterday. So either he made a mistake that we didn't quite catch on TV, or, maybe the car's just not running right.
Yeah.
We do have optimal conditions right now. Track temperatures are coming up, but the air and ambient temperature is still pretty low, so the car is still making a decent amount of horsepower.
All right, so Kenneth Smith in that Corvette. Now we'll chase him down. A lot of aero. So again, another kind of full aero package. You got the Miata compared to that Corvette that comes out of the box, fairly stout.
It's like Ken Smith slow pedaling it a little here through turn 10A and 10B as he finishes his swap lap. Trying to let Grant Walker get a little bit of a gap so that he might be able to try and chase him down. Grant looking real solid there, though, coming through turn 3. There's that little short chute down the back straight, down into the tightest corner on track, corner 6. So these short wheelbase Miatas have a little bit of an advantage there down in turn 6, but with that long straightaway, the Corvette's going to reel Grant right back in, I'm afraid.
All right, so the clock is ticking here for Grant Walker. Thing looks like it is just sucked to the ground. That big old diffuser out back, front splitter.
Yeah, from a side profile, that thing doesn't even look like a Miata anymore.
Right. You can see the headlight deletes and the whole 9. Just don't know. Don't think it's going to be enough, unfortunately, going against Kenneth Smith here.
Grant looking real solid there, though, coming through corner 9. But look at that, as they come through 10A, 10B, Ken Smith is right on him. Oh, and Ken Smith, a little bit of a bobble there. Not sure if he figured he was getting a little too close. Through that corner, it's really hard. The car's loaded up. You can't really lift as you go through there. So, and there it is. Ken Smith, your winner of that round against Grant Walker. Ken Smith, 112.795. Grant Walker, 116.659. Ken Smith winning both of those rounds in his Corvette against Grant Walker's Miata. bring these two drivers in, have a quick word with them, and then we will run the next battle.
All right, so Austin, you called it. Kenneth Smith just very dominant here against Walker. So Kenneth Smith making quick work. Go ahead and have some words there, bud.
All right. Grant Walker, what's up, man?
How's it going?
Doing great, man. Now, I saw on your first battle lap, you're running about 2 seconds slower than you did yesterday. Was the car not feeling right?
Yeah, the car's been a little bit of a mess all weekend, but trying to dial it in. So I've been trying to wrangle it in, make some adjustments. But when it comes down to competition time, you got to do with what you got.
Yeah, you know, this is probably one of the most crazy modified Miatas that we've seen out at a speedring event.
Yeah, this is its first year running, so hoping to make improvements from here out, trying to improve myself as a driver and get the car to improve as well. So hopefully this thing keeps going, getting faster.
Yeah, well, you know, unfortunately, don't think you had enough that battle for Mr. Ken Smith over here. So unfortunately, you're not moving on to the next round, but hopefully we'll see you next year.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, thanks for coming out.
All right, Kenneth Smith, your shirt says captain over here on it. I don't know if that's by design, but you're the captain of this battle here, and you're advancing on. What do you make of the format? Have you ever done anything like this track battle, bracket battles?
No, never done anything like this. I really like the format. I like that it puts a lot of pressure on you, and you got to perform, and you got to drive to win.
Do you think communications with like a spotter would kind of help you? I mean, or do you feel? I mean, because it's gonna get closer and closer. Like Austin was saying, there was a second between all top 8 drivers. You find yourself, just out or just right there. Do you think communication would help?
No, the first round, I was driving to win. After this, it's balls to the wall, man. You can't leave anything on the table, and hope you don't make a mistake.
All right, well, congratulations, Kenneth. We'll see you in the next bracket battle, and keep it moving. All right, so actually only we haven't found Hinsberger. I assume Hinsberger may be broken.
Yeah, I see on the
I know they
bracket
couldn't find
there.
him.
I see on the bracket there, Jeremy Swinson is seated to move on to the next one. But it appears as though Mackenzie Hinsberger is not here. We did as much as we could. Maybe he's watching the live stream.
I just like our size disparity.
Yeah, it's very different. Yesterday on the live stream, somebody goes, "Is Jared that tall or is Austin that short?" And Chris Stewart from Grid Life was on the stream, and he goes, "Both." So all 5'6" of me.
Yeah, 6'4" on a good day. I guess.
I need a platform over here. So it does sound like Mackenzie Hinsberger is out, receiving word from Time Attack Director Abe Schmucker.
I don't know if he just said that there, but race official there letting us know that this will be our last battle of track modified in round 1. Puglisi and
Joe Melky.
Joe Melky.
So this is Mike Puglisi's out there in that white DMN Racing Mitsubishi Evo. That thing, he built that thing in his garage. All that aero, for the most part, like the wide body and everything, was done just in his garage by himself.
All right.
So big splitter there. You can see he's trying to kind of fill out the grip levels of the track surface. Much different than they were yesterday at the end of the day. Joe Melky, though, in that car number 555 Subaru, both of these guys were running very, very fast lap times yesterday. And this might be the closest battle that we've seen overall today in the track modified category. They're here starting their flyer lap as Mike Puglisi there. That car actually looks good. White wheels, or sorry, white car, orange wheels.
Yep.
We also, there's that other E46
Yep, it's
M3.
right over there.
White car, blue wheels. White cars are kind of cool. You can put like any color wheels on them.
Yep.
And it actually ends up working out pretty
I like
well.
to call it Sponsor Me White.
There you go. The privateer white.
Yep. All right, so Puglisi here in that DMNN Racing Evo, and Puglisi really just making a name for himself over the years of track battle events. And
At another event this year, Mike Puglisi was actually, from the coverage of it on Auto Week, was on the cover of Auto Week. So if that car looks familiar, it might be from that issue.
Awesome. All right, so Puglisi really moving as Melky is nowhere to be found as far as getting close to him. Back there quite a bit.
Now these round one battles, some of them aren't the closest, just the way the brackets are built. Just the way traditional brackets, as the seeds come in, you want to give a little bit of an advantage to the faster cars, but you also want to make things interesting. So we're just using a traditional bracket, 16-car bracket setup. Mike Puglisi crossing the start-finish line, 109.971. And Joe Melky crossing the finish line as well with a 115.444. So a little bit of a speed differential there. Those guys were a little bit closer in lap time yesterday. Mike Puglisi may have made some setup changes last night and certainly yielding some results here.
Yeah, 109, very strong there, and a 115 from Melky. So 6 seconds between them at 555 Subaru. We're talking about the stance on that vehicle.
Yeah, these two, Mike Puglisi was seated 7th coming into today's bracket, and Joe Melky was seated 10th. So really, these two cars were pretty close together.
Yeah.
Although Mike Puglisi is falling into that top 8 coming into the seed that were all within a second of each other. So
And that's what we're really going to watch. And we talked about Swenson being the potential last battle, but Hinsberger unfortunately not pulling to the line, and he qualified number 2. So it's whoever wins this, which right now on paper looks like Puglisi will advance on, but Melky, you never know. I mean, we've seen these drivers push too hard and make some mistakes as well.
Yeah, you just saw these two cars reset position and are now beginning their second hot lap. Joe Melky obviously leading Mike Puglisi. Mike Puglisi, though, taking the win in the first battle. So if Joe Melky can end up running a faster lap time than Mike Puglisi this one, he will force a one more time battle. It's looking like Mike Puglisi, though, may be closing that gap just a little bit. Down there into corner 6. That is the tightest corner on this track. And right into the longest straightaway here.
Yeah, it looks like Puglisi gaining some ground there. Look at that. You can see him on that back straightaway on out of 6, and then all the way back to the longest straightaway of the course. That arrow hunting him down.
Look at that. Look at that gap. That gap is next to nothing now. So unofficially, it's looking like Mike Puglisi might take this one home, but you never know. If Mike somehow blows one of these last 3 corners, the win overall would actually go to Joe Melky, because if you go 4 off, this counts as a DNF, not just for that battle, but for the whole battle bracket portion.
All right, so Melky coming into that turn 1 through the S's, but Puglisi, the white shadow all over Melky. It looks like Puglisi will be getting the victory there, Austin.
Yep, that was a lap time 113.944 for Mike Puglisi, a 116.106 for Joe Melky. So unfortunately, not enough. Mike Puglisi seated 7th after yesterday's qualification round, and Joe Melky seated 10th. So Mike Puglisi will be moving on to the next round.
All right, so it looks like there you have it. From round 1, advancing on now into these 8 drivers. McGrew, Shadbull, Al Young, Harding, Boersma, Smith, Puglisi, and Swenson will advance on into the next set of brackets.
We'll bring Mike Puglisi and Joe Melky in here little bit of a speed differential there. But obviously, as you can tell, Mike Puglisi's car is a lot more wildly modified than Joe Melke's car is. Looks like Joe's car he uses for some other competitions as well, and just isn't prepped to the same level with all the aero and everything as Mike Puglisi. Joe Melke, man, what's going on?
Just some poor driving and car setup.
Yeah, it was looking good out there, but unfortunately, I don't think it was quite enough. Obviously, your car is probably a little more lightly modified, and you use it to compete in things other than time attack as well.
Yeah, I plan on running a NASA. That's why it's set up for TT3. So the horsepower ratio is about 10 to 1. So I'm only at 330 horsepower.
Nice. Now you've, I forget, were you here last year at the same event?
I was.
Awesome. Obviously, liking the format. What do you think of the format compared to some of your other events that you might be on?
I love the format. It's very challenging because you have to be on right when you have to be on. You can't practice or build up to speed. You have to start and perform right on the spot.
Yeah, so very nice driving, but unfortunately not quite enough to beat out Mike Puglisi. So thanks for coming out, and we'll see you next year.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Well, speaking of Mike, I just asked him, how's the weekend going? I said, what's the answer, Mike?
It's going good. I just ran my fastest time, 109.90, according to my lap timer. I had to look twice to say I didn't think that was right.
So do you feel like this is ideal conditions? Do you think the track's going to get faster? Where's your head at, and what do you think of the format?
I think the track will probably continue to get faster. The competition's going to get stiffer as it keeps going up. So I'm so stoked. This is so much fun.
Well, your smile says it all. Congratulations. See you in the next bracket. And you're going to be going against Jeremy Swenson. What do you got?
I have to also say I did it for Dale.
You did it for Dale? Dale Jr. or Dale Sr.?
Dale Sr. He's 1 year older than me.
All right, right on. Well, congratulations, Puglisi. Moving on, and that is our last battle because, like I said, Swenson doesn't have to do battle against Mackenzie Hinsberger because, unfortunately, that is a mechanical failure. So a DNS there from Hinsberger, so Swenson gets the automatic advancement into the next battle. So the airlift performance track modified, Austin, did it deliver for you or kind of?
Yeah, I know it's going to get better later.
Okay.
Just the way the brackets were built, there weren't as many tight battles, but still, it seems like all those top 8 we were talking about yesterday
moving on.
That ran, within a second of each other are all moving on.
Okay.
So this next round that we're going to see here in a little bit, that's going to be where track modified gets real interesting.
Yep. All right. So, Austin Cap, Jared DeAnda, this is the Speed Ring powered by ARP and Vibrant Performance. All this curated by Motovicity. So we're going to lay out here for a second, and when we come back, what do we got next?
So we'll take a short break, and then we will move on to the next round, starting with the Street Modified class, back in the Street Modified class.
All right. So when we come back, some more Speed Ring here at M1 Concourse.